What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So today I have a really interesting video that I'm actually really happy to make, and I've been wanting to make for a while now. Today we're going to be lowering the hard body with some lowering blocks. So right here with me I have some Beltec 4-inch lowering blocks, and these are the, I don't know what you would call it, I guess maybe slanted. I don't know if you could really see it. I know these are pretty big blocks, but let me see if I could set it down. Obviously the tailgate's not that straight, but you see how they're flat here and then it's taller on this side, then it's shorter here and taller over here, and then you can see the little slant. A lot of them just come as just standard blocks, not with a little slope on there, the little angle, and that kind of affects the drivetrain a little, because since these trucks aren't made to be slammed, the drive shaft kind of comes down like this, and then the diff is right here, or actually right here, and it points up a little. So when you lower it, this is your diff, it points up like that, and you just go like this, you lift it up. So then this is your diff, and then your drive shaft, instead of going down like this, it ends up going up, and then right where they meet, it's that's really funky, but it's a little 45-degree angle. Not that harsh, but it's kind of, you get what I mean. It's like this, your drive shaft goes up, and then it right there, it's the little stress point, and then it goes down. It's straight rather than going up and down. On my 720 I had that problem, so I had to shorten down the drive shaft a little just to get it to be straight, because it was pushing it up, and then the diff was being pushed up like that. So then when I did the shorter drive shaft, it kind of allowed it to come back down. This is a lot easier. You literally just put those blocks in. You don't have to really do any fab work. But there's a lot of things, if these blocks aren't low enough, which I'm thinking they're not low enough because I want to go fender to lip with this truck, but if they're not low enough, I have a few tricks that I know on these trucks. I'm really familiar with them, that I can do to still lower it more. I might not have all the tools and stuff to do it all today, but we'll throw them on, we'll see how it is. If it's not low enough, then I'll end up doing those little tricks and I'll show you guys, so then we can get that fender lip fitment, especially in the rear. And another reason, this is going to be a part 1 video, just the rear, and then the part 2 is going to be the front. The reason I'm doing the rear first is because the rear takes a lot more time. You have to disassemble the whole rear end. The front end, you literally just crank the torsion bars and you're done. It's that simple. So I'd rather do this first, and then I can knock that out within 15 to 20 minutes. So part 1, let's get started. First step, chalk your wheels. You don't want your truck rolling away, you get me? And then the second step, I would say, if you have 2 jacks, this would be a lot easier. I have one good one and one that kind of never works. So what I'm going to be doing is just using a block of wood. The truck is really tall, so I could still put a block in there. And the block is so once you you lower the truck or everything, it falls on there, and then you're able to mess with the diff and stuff. And then once you come in here, you're gonna see this little thing right here. It's called a bump stop. I believe it's 2 14-mil bolts right there. You're gonna want to take those off, because you see how close the diff is, and it's not even lowered yet. So imagine that top of the axle right there is gonna go up 4 inches. So what you're gonna want to do is remove it. Eventually, I'll cut it off, maybe to right there, and then I'll put it back on so it doesn't hit the frame with the diff. But just for now, I'm gonna take it off completely. And kind of sucks because the previous owner had put brand new shocks, and I'm gonna defeat the purpose of that. But for those of you who don't know what lowering blocks are, they're pretty much spacers that go in between your diff, or your axle, my bad, and your leaf springs. So they would go right in between here, so it lifts the axle up, and the leaf springs with the shock stays the same. So technically you're not ruining your shock, but yeah, that's pretty much what lowering blocks are. They're just spacers. So what you want to do is put a diff, not a diff, my bad, put the jack on the diff, and then jack it up just a tiny bit, not anything crazy, just to relieve the tension from here, and then take these 4 bolts off. Once you got the bump stop off, then you're going to want to move down here to these 4 bolts. I put WD-40 on those a while ago, so if you guys are going to do this, I would say do it maybe an hour, maybe 2 hours before you start actually doing it. Put some WD-40 in there. You're not going to use these U-bolts or the bolts in the bottom, because the new kit already comes with extended U-bolts and new bolts, or new nuts, my bad. So yeah, you could just save these just in case, because you don't know if you're ever going to go back to your stock height, or whatever. So always keep those. In my opinion, it's just in case. You're probably never going to use them again, but just keep them if you can. When you guys are removing this, do equal turns. So put it on this one right here, let's say, and then turn it 5 times 360 degrees, and then move to the opposite one, and then do like a little star pattern. Don't remove this one all the way out, and then remove this one all the way out, and then that one, because then it'll get like stuck on the threads. So just do it little by little. And then this does have a little bit of pressure since the shock is here and the leaf springs. So once it's almost out, I would recommend let the jack go a little bit down to kind of like put all the weight down so it's not gonna shoot out. Not all the way, but I don't really know how to explain it. You have to just know how to do it. So yeah, I don't really have too much advice on that. And I'd recommend using also a breaker bar, because they've probably been on there since it came out the factory back in '97. So yeah, that's a long time. When I was talking about using 2 jacks, this is what I meant. Putting one on the center of the diff right there to kind of like pick up the diff, and then use another one right here on the leaves. So when you take all the bolts out, it doesn't just shoot out. So that's why you take those bolts out, and then you just let it go out with this one. With the pressure, just slowly let it go. Sorry I didn't show you guys this part, but once you get that last bolt out, this just kind of, I'll just show you guys, look how slow it comes out. It just does that, like it pops off and then just slowly goes down. So this doesn't have a lot of like pressure in there, but it will, you know, slide down. Once you've done this, then you want to get this jack or whatever you have and release the tension on this so these go as low as they can go. And then you want to use that jack to jack up the whole entire axle all the way up so you could fit, you know, the block in there, your spacer, whatever you want to call it, in between there. And then when you put this on at first, it's not going to be like a pretty straight, because that side still doesn't have one. So it's going to be kind of uneven like this. So just kind of put the new, see, like you can take these out. You keep this little bracket in. So you keep this bracket in here, and then you just pull these up like that. And then the new ones are like about that much longer. So you do put those back in there. And then when you put the block in, just kind of loosely tighten everything, but not like a crazy like torque it down. And then once you do both sides, then you can torque it down and do everything straight. Because if the axle is like pointing up like this, it's gonna want to be like really crooked and not straight. So just kind of loosely put it on there, and then once you do this side, then you tighten everything up. But it's a really simple process. Like literally, you could probably do this within an hour. So far, I'm at like 20 minutes, so I'm doing pretty good. Now you can see how much space I have. It might be a little dark, but yeah, now there's a pretty big gap in here. In the box, you should get 2 blocks. Here's one, there's the other. You should get 4 of these extended ones. I'll show you the difference side by side. So this is the original one, and see how much more thread that has. And they also give you new washers and hardware, so don't use these, just put these back on here. And then what I like to do is put this back in here, just, you know, if I ever need it. But yeah, new hardware, new U-bolts, and your blocks. If you check, you see there's a little like hole in here, and on the leaf springs they have a little doohickey sticking out like that goes in here, and then this goes into the axle. And the one on the leaves might be a little rusty, so you might just have to like set it on there and wiggle it. See if this goes on. I doubt it, but yeah, it's a little tight, but just wiggle it around. Doing this with one person is a little harder because you kind of have to like align the diff into that little hole. Alright guys, so I forgot what I was filming. I got kind of into it, but pretty much what I remember is I moved that little thing up with the jack. I used this one. It was the scissor jack was way easier than the other jack over there. And then I just kind of fed the U-bolts through, put the nuts on, tightened them, and I just put the tire on just to kind of like test fit. But right there you can see what it looks like. Obviously it's all weird right now because this one has like the block and this one doesn't. But yeah, now I'm gonna do this head real quick. Alright, right there you can see it's about 4.5 from the fender, or my bad, from the bed to the lip of the rim. These are the stock 14-inch rims with stock suspension, everything stock, 4-inch blocks, and it gives you about a 4.5-inch gap from the lip of the fender, or the lip of the rim, my bad, to the bed, just for references, just in case anyone was interested in to see like how much it would drop. But yeah, now I just got to do the fronts. Alright guys, I was going to make this a part 2 video of lowering the front, but I thought about it and I'm just going to put it all in this video because it makes no sense to make a video of loosening 2 bolts. Like, that's kind of pointless. So I'm just going to show you guys real quick. Alright guys, so you're going to want to come right here by the door, and let me see if I can get down. You're going to see, let me see if I can. It's kind of hard to focus, but it's right here. Alright, so you're going to see this bolt right here, and you're going to want to loosen it all the way until you get it all to, like, the more you loosen it, the lower you'll pretty much get. I think there's a nut on top that you have to put a wrench on top and then loosen this up, but I'm not 100% sure, but you guys can figure this out. But pretty much, like I said, the more you loosen it, like the more the 2 bolts, it's 2 bolts I think, the more the 2 bolts go down this way, the lower the truck will get. But yeah, I'll show you before you can see where the thread is, or how, oh my bad, how much thread is left. Alright guys, so the torsion bars are now all loosened and ready to go. As you can see, I put the rims on there, and since they are a smaller diameter, it makes a way bigger gap. I'm hoping that, I know eventually I'll get some camber and I'll be able to like kind of tuck it in, but these are really wide. You can see how much is poking out. And on my other hard body, I had to pull this about like 1 inch to 2 inches, so I'm gonna do the same with this one. I'm gonna pull it out really far. I could run Pathfinder fenders, but I'm not a huge fan of how they look. Like, they're bulky from here all the way out like that. I like stock fenders that are just pulled out because it's like a nice even just bubble. I don't know, that's just me. So I'm gonna do that, and then probably lower it some more because I know right now it's not gonna go too low. So I'm gonna re-index the torsion bars. So if you guys don't know what that is, I'll make a video on that and showing you guys how to do that so it'll go more low and get more camber. But yeah, let's drop it real quick. Alright guys, it is now lowered. Like I said, I'm probably gonna lower it some more because you can see the gap. It's 4 fingers, which is not good at all in my opinion. The rear is good, but the front I'm not too happy with. I was gonna show you guys how the bolt looks after, but it's kind of too low and like I can't fit the camera in there. Like, maybe you can see it. Oh, right there, you can barely see it a little. Right here. Well guys, that about wraps up this video. I hope you guys learned something and figured out how to lower your trucks. If you guys have any questions on anything that I did or anything else that you guys want to know, you guys can comment down below and I'll try to answer your questions to the best of my ability. I've done this a few times on pretty much all the trucks that I've owned. I've only owned about 3 so far, but I've always done this. It's really cheap, gets lowered, obviously it goes a lot lower, it looks nice. It's not really the best thing you can do. It literally cost me around, I think, $60 shipped, the blocks, the front's free. So it's a pretty cheap alternative, but it's not gonna ride like the best. And right now the truck is in the front, is sitting on bump stops, that's why it's not going that low. I have to remove those, but it's already getting dark and laid out, so I don't want to make too much noise for the neighbors. So tomorrow I'll remove those. The rear doesn't have any bump stops right now, but I'm gonna cut the original ones, put them back on so the tire doesn't hit the fender, well, the bed. And I'll show you guys how to re-index the torsion bars because they're not going low enough. But yeah, like I said, if you guys have any questions, let me know. Give you a little walk around of the truck. It's crazy, I bought this truck a week ago and now it's looking like this. Like, legit, I bought it as a little hoopty and now it turned into this. I told myself I was gonna keep it original. I was gonna make it a good daily because it's super good on gas. Sorry, my camera keeps cutting out because I don't have any memory. But yeah, it's really good on gas. I've been driving it around. It's a really fun truck. Well worth what I paid for it. But yeah, you can see it's got a little bit of damage right there, but that doesn't bother me too much. Dude, it's looking so nice. I think I just need to lower the front maybe like around, I would say, 2 to 3 more inches. The back maybe 1 more inch, and I should be all set, ready to go. But yeah, I'm gonna take it for a quick test drive.